In the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of greats, a lot of giants fall to the wayside. I've seen Bethesda. Bethesda, where's Bethesda? Where's Bethesda? Can the real Bethesda please stand up? Because I'm starting to just absolutely despise that developer and everything they stand for with Fallout 76. Don't get me started on Fallout 76. Then I have to see, I cried tears, I cried my eyes out when Mass Effect Andromeda came out. I was depressed for almost a week when Anthem came out. It was horrible. It was terrible to see Anthem come out. But those two developers, they're dead and gone. I buried them in my backyard. They will never arise once again. But seeing those developers just die out and fall to the wayside was traumatic for me as a gamer. But seeing a developer kind of slip up a little bit in the early 2010s and arise once again this year, has been absolutely one of my favorite things this year. And I'm not talking about Doom Eternal and id Software, by the way. I'm not talking about how id Software made Rage, which I liked Rage a lot, actually. I thought that there should have been some tweaks here and there with some of the story elements and some of the open world elements, but I really, really liked that game. I liked the shooting. I liked a lot of stuff in Rage, but a lot of people didn't. I don't know why. But I'm not here to talk about id Software, even though I could use that same analogy that I was talking about early on with id Software, with Doom and Doom Eternal, and how id Software has a return to form right now. Right now, they are throwing a very fastball. I'm not talking about id Software. I am talking about Sucker Punch Games. I'm talking about that developer that made the Infamous series back in the early 2010s. If you didn't own a PlayStation in the early 2010s, you're probably asking me the question of, what the hell is Infamous, 24? What is it? I'm going to tell you right now. Infamous was a game series where you played as a super-powered hero or villain, depending on the actions that you got to take. Sucker Punch Games prioritized the gameplay. It had great gameplay, and it also had a great narrative, all packaged up into a PlayStation exclusive. It was fantastic. But the issue with the Infamous series was that when they moved the series onto the PS4, it was supposed to be packaged and released with the PS4. So they probably didn't get the same amount of development time that they wanted to, and the story wasn't necessarily as great as some of the other stories in the Infamous series had been at that point in time, and the game kind of fell to the wayside. I don't think it got the traction that Sony and Sucker Punch Games thought that it would. And, for the last couple of years, Sucker Punch, they kind of went underground. There wasn't a whole lot of information about Sucker Punch, if any, and it seems like they have spent an incredibly long period of time working on this specific project, working on a Ghost of Tsushima, and I absolutely love it. Do you want to know why? Because Sucker Punch doesn't fucking compromise. They're still here. They're still making great games. You haven't heard or seen of them in years. And they come back in 2018 with an absolute just shocker in Ghost of Tsushima. Imagine if Microsoft came out with something like that at their press conference and press events. People would stop complaining that they don't have any exclusives. When I saw this game, Ghost of Tsushima, at the 2018 E3 Sony Showcase, I was like, who made that game? That looks awesome. Then I saw it was Sucker Punch? Sucker Punch made that video game? Oh, sweet Mary of Joseph. I was like, Sucker Punch is starting to look like they're returning back to form. And then you see some of the story elements in some of the trailers. You see the story trailers. You kind of really start to analyze that gameplay. And you're like, man, Sucker Punch, they could be on to something special. They could be back in that rare Infamous 2 form where they had a great combination of gameplay and also having a strong narrative, that sweet spot that a lot of gamers love. I feel like Sucker Punch right now is an underdog in this fight. I feel like Sucker Punch is one of these developers that's going to creep up on everybody on June 26th and shock the world. They're going to shock the world on June 26th. Mark my words, circle this date. Ghost of Tsushima is going to shock everybody, and people will start to know the name of Sucker Punch Games. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Until my next video, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.